Jay here, Stretford, Paddock. This is it. This is the big one. Manchester United versus West Ham in America. It's in New Jersey, although we're in New York. Joining me, as always, is Mr. Joe Smith. Joe, we've made it.
We've made it. We're in the park. The sun is absolutely shining. It's gleaming down on us. The weather is great. The stage is set. Transfers are here. Football is here. This is the tour starting now. None of this Leeds nonsense. West Ham in America. This is it.
That's what it's all about.
That's what it's
all about.
Is
that West Ham? Yes, it is.
Yes, it is actually. And we're going to play you very, very soon.
Right, Joe, let's just get down to it, yeah?
Yeah.
Bryan Mbeumo.
Yeah.
That's what we all want to talk about. I got sick of talking about Bryan Mbeumo, not because I'm sick of talking about him. I got sick of talking about the transfer rumours. Is he going to join? What's going on? He wants to join Manchester United, but United haven't put the bid in that Brentford are going to approve. Oh, they have put a bid in, but it's not enough. Then they put a second bid in, it's not quite there. And then the bid that they put in, maybe it is quite there, but maybe they don't need to stagger the payments as much. Maybe they need to pay more up front. Maybe they need to be less add-ons. Maybe this deal's never going to get done. Thomas Frank's gone to Spurs. Maybe he's going to go Thomas Frank at Spurs. Maybe Newcastle's going to come in for him. So I wasn't sick of talking about Bryan Mbeumo because I love him. I was sick of talking about the transfer rumours, but I don't have to do that anymore because he's here. He's a Manchester United player.
Yeah.
How excited are you about the prospects of watching not just Bryan Mbeumo playing for Manchester United, hopefully seeing Bryan Mbeumo against West Ham as well?
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic signing, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him play. I think he brings something that a lot of our other attackers in the area lack, and that is an intelligence on the ball. I think that he does stuff that you just go, yeah, that makes sense, that makes sense, that makes sense. Every time he gets it, he does the right thing. And obviously, he makes mistakes. He's not, completely infallible. But when you compare him to the likes of, Garnacho and Rashford and Anthony, you look at them and you think, what have you done that for? Anthony will cut inside and smack it when there's a pass on. Garnacho will, instead of going around the keeper, he'll try and meg him and, hit it straight at him. Whatever it may be, or shoot from too far out. We see these things all the time. And when I watch Bryan Mbeumo, what I notice is he just does the right thing. It's like he's constantly calculating the highest sort of percentage chance of success thing he can do. Should I clip it to the back post? Should I go down the line? Should I cut inside and shoot? Should I play a 1-2 off the edge of the box? Like, he just seems to calculate all these things in real time so well and just plays grown-up, intelligent adult football. And I absolutely love that, and I think we need that, especially when you've got players like Bruno Fernandes, who he does the right thing a lot of the time as well, but he has more of a kind of off-the-cuff feel to him. I think Matheus Cunha has got a similar thing. Someone that you can just go, right, Bryan, you get the ball and just make sure you handle it well, you don't lose it, and you do the right thing. Ahmad's got a bit of that about him as well. You don't give the ball away recklessly, Ahmad, does it? He's always doing the right thing. So I think bringing someone like that in just changes the way we can attack. And, I think he could go up to that next level of, obviously, I know Brentford have finished above us, but they're not a team where you think you're going to be challenging for trophies. You're expected to win big games against big teams all the time. But I think because of those things I've mentioned, I think Mbeumo can take that step. I really do.
Yeah, I always use the word to describe him, and Cunha, to be honest with you, just unfazed.
Yeah.
He just looks unfazed. He looks like he's just enjoying himself when he plays football. He looks like he's almost got that sort of swagger to him, aura, as the kids say.
Yeah.
Well, he's just enjoying it playing football, and that's a bit of a... It's amazing to say. It's almost a bit of a rarity, especially at Manchester United. It looks like every player's got the weight of the world on his shoulders, but he does seem to enjoy himself. And also, I'm buzzing about the fact he really wanted to move to Manchester United. We've had it in the past where we've had great players that we've wanted, and players that you think are going to be a success. When you scratch beneath the surface, they didn't quite fancy United, or they weren't mad keen on it. They were happy to come and collect a massive paycheck, but it wasn't their preferred choice. You look at players like Angel Di Maria, obviously didn't want to join United. He made that clear once he left. Even Jadon Sancho, was he really keen on United? Probably not. Even Paul Pogba, there's all the talk of the prodigal son and all that, but I don't think he was particularly bothered about coming back to United. I don't think he'd have left if he was that keen on us. I'm not saying he didn't have his good moments, obviously he did, but with Bryan Mbeumo, you've got a player there who is talented, who has got the right mindset and wants to play for United.
Yeah.
He could have gone to Spurs, he could have gone to Newcastle. There was talk of maybe even Chelsea by everyone, maybe they'd have come in for him and play Champions League football, but he wanted to play for Manchester United. And also, why not? Can we stop with this nonsense that coming to Manchester United is like the most insane thing a player could
it's
do?
a prison sentence or something, We're
still the biggest club in England. We're one of the biggest clubs in the world. We've seen here in the States how many fans we've got. Global fan base is ridiculous. He knows he's played at Old Trafford, 73,500 Reds screaming you on. He's going to love it. So let's stop pretending that Manchester United is some small little club that no one would ever want to join. He is joining a massive club, a club that has underachieved, and hopefully he can be one of the reasons we get back to where we belong. So Bryan Mbeumo to score any time against West Ham was 15-8. It's been boosted to 5-2 with Betfred. There's a link in the description. Go and check that out. Remember, of course, that Betfred rules apply. Prices are correct at the time of filming. Max stakes may vary. Be gamble aware 18 plus. So, Joseph, last time, me and you did our own bet builders, but this time, for the game against West Ham, we've combined our bet builders. We've come together as a force, yeah? A force to be reckoned with. And we've come up with, I think, a bet that makes sense, because I got a bit giddy last time, didn't I? I thought there was going to be loads of goals against Leeds. There wasn't. Against West Ham, though, I still fancy United to win, but maybe there isn't going to be the 6 goals, I think, that I predicted against Leeds. So this time we've gone for something a little bit different. So we've gone for United to win, obviously.
Yeah. Under 2.5 goals.
Under 2.5 goals.
We've got some new transfers, but United have barely scored a goal for 18 months. Actually, let's be honest, 3 years.
Yeah.
It's going to be a gradual process. So under 2.5 goals. And we think as well that Bruno Fernandes is going to score. He's still United's best player.
Yeah.
I love Mbeumo. I love Cunha. I'm hopeful we get more transfers, but Bruno Fernandes is still the one that's going to bring the win home. So he's going to score as well, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. And for that bet, Betfred have boosted it to 14 to 1. So that bet builder is 14 to 1. Remember that prices are correct at the time of filming. Betfred rules apply. Max stakes may vary. Be gamble aware 18 plus. Joseph.
Yes.
2 words. Midfield. Talk to me.
Sure.
What is going on with Manchester United's midfield? Because I think when you look at the back three, there's a little bit of a debate. Should it be De Ligt? Should it be Maguire? But by and large, most people agree on it's, Martinez, De Ligt, and Yoro is probably your strongest back three. You look at the wing backs there. Most people agree it's Dorgu, and if you're not going to play Ahmad up front, you probably play him at wing back or Delo.
Yeah.
Midfield though. It's a real conundrum
many.
because is it your guy? Is it Manu? Does Casemiro still have legs in him? One thing that seems pretty obvious is Bruno Fernandes has to play midfield, doesn't he? Not just for this game, but moving forward. You'd expect him to play for Manchester United. He's the captain and he's arguably our best player. Yeah,
I think Bruno's got to play. And I think he will play. I think, like you said, he's our best player. He's the only player that we can rely on consistently over the last few years. And we can't assume that. I know, obviously, there's a whole Premier League proven thing, but you can't just assume that Mbeumo and Cunha are going to settle in instantly and just, come in that first game of the season against Arsenal and just smash it every single week just because they did at another club, 150 miles down the road. You can't assume that. So Bruno's the one where you kind of know what you're going to get. Even in a bad year, he's getting you 10 goals, 10 assists, and in a good year, it's pretty much 20 of both, like we essentially saw last season. It's just who plays next to him, and what type of player plays next to him. Do you go for Manu, someone who can carry the ball better, who's got that technical ability on the ball? Do you go for Casemiro, a more off-the-ball kind of player, although he is transitioning into an on-the-ball player with his lack of running? Do you go for Ugarte? Obviously, we all know what he's about in terms of getting tackles in and trying to win the ball. Or do we bring someone else in? That's the final question, isn't it? Do we bring in an athletic, tall, strong, absolute ground-gobbling central midfielder to go alongside Bruno that can win the ball back and get up and down the pitch? Because I think that would suit Bruno perfectly. Yeah. I also think it would suit Manu perfectly. Yeah. I think it would suit maybe Ugarte in the real sort of tough games when we don't expect to have a lot of possession. But I think we do need to bring that extra player in. But obviously for this game, Bruno Fernandes, he's the one for me that works, and I probably would go Ugarte next to him. Obviously, we'll get to predicted 11s, but I just think that midfield does need sorting. There needs to be some sort of resolution there, because like you said, there's like 5 or 6 permutations of who could play in those midfield spots, and I'm not even sure the manager knows his number one sort of duo there, and that does need to change if we want to push up the table.
Yeah, definitely. I think Bruno Fernandes is one of those players as well who's got the ability to adapt. Yeah. He's world class, and I don't say that lightly, but he is, and I'll die on that hill. Bruno Fernandes is world class, and a player of that ilk, he can adapt his game. We've seen him as well, sprinting for in the 93rd minute against Liverpool, sprinting 90 yards or 80 yards or whatever to make a tackle. He can be that kind of guy, and I think when you look at the great Manchester United players, the great midfielders, the likes of Paul Scholes and Roy Keane, for example, and people may say, oh, why are you putting Bruno in that bracket? I'm not saying he's as good as those, but he's not a million miles away from him, and he is a world class player. They adapted their games. Roy Keane used to be an attacking midfielder, then he was box to box, then he used to sit in front of the defence. Paul Scholes, his game was about getting goals almost off the striker, then he became a sort of quarterback at Manchester United. There's no reason why someone like Bruno Fernandes can't adapt his game. We've seen other players doing that as well. I remember Darren Fletcher adapted his game and went from a more box to box to a sort of holding midfielder. So I think Bruno Fernandes has got the ability and the technical just know-how and talent to do it. Yeah. So maybe he does become that player that plays in the 6 alongside someone like a Kobbie Mainoo, or another player if we bring someone in. It'll be interesting to see how this pans out. I just hope Manchester United can get it right in the transfer market as well, because I don't think our business is done by any stretch of the imagination.
Jay, hit me with all that being said, please.
I do like to say that, don't I?
Love it.
To be brutally honest, I do like saying, with all that being said, give me your predicted 11 for the game between Manchester United and West Ham United.
Yeah, I think it's going to be... I mean, it's one of them, innit? There's so many players and there's going to be so much rotation, probably a new 11 at half-time. You can never be 100% certain, but this is what I would like to see. I'm going to go with that. So Tom Heaton in goal.
Yeah.
I want to see a back three of Yoro, Maguire and Heaven.
Yeah.
I mean, again, every time we see Heaven, I'm impressed. Every time we see Yoro, I'm impressed. Then a sort of middle four with the two full-backs. I think it will be Dallo, and I think I would like to see that as well, with Bruno and Ugarte as the two midfielders. Energy, I know it's not quite the same height and physicality that you get with Casemiro, but I just think I want to see that sort of legs and running in there. With Dorgu, I think that's pretty much set on the left-hand side. And then I want to see the two new boys. I want to see them together, get them on the pitch, get them sharing that turf, and get them scoring and creating goals. Cunha and Mbeumo, and I think it will be Højlund. I think that he's most likely the guy to start the season up front unless we sell him.
Yeah.
So far there's no indication we're going to sell him, so I think put him up front. And also, if he's ever going to turn his form around, it has to start with a good pre-season. So let's try and get him one by playing him and getting him some minutes.
Yeah, the manager sort of alluded to the idea that he's happy and there might not be another striker coming in. He's happy with his signings. Don't know if that's completely true, but that's certainly what he's saying. My 11, I get where you're coming from with all that. My 11, my predicted 11 is I've gone with Bayindir in goal, a back three of Luke Shaw, Harry Maguire and Nusret Mazraoui. My wing backs, I've gone with Patrick Dorgu on the left, Amad Diallo, or just Amad, on the right. My two midfielders are Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes. I've gone with, like you, the big boys, the two number 10s, Matheus Cunha and Bryan Mbeumo as your two number 10s, and I've gone with Chido up front. I think Chido might lead the line, although, like you said, it could be Rasmus Højlund. Let's not forget, this isn't the team that's going to start against Arsenal necessarily. This isn't even the team that's probably going to start the second half.
Yeah.
It's the first half team, because we see loads of subs, loads of rotation, as you would already expect in a pre-season. Plus, you might see a few youngsters getting thrown in as well. So it's very difficult to predict, but let us know in the comments in the chat what you think about mine and Joe's predicted 11s. Joe, hello, is that West Ham? Yes, it is. United are playing West Ham, obviously, for this game, part of the Premier League series. West Ham are a bit of a weird one, right? Because I don't really like West Ham.
No.
They've never quite up there with the Leeds and the Manchester Cities and the Liverpools, but their fans, no disrespect to West Ham fans, well, yeah, this just
you are
a bit disrespectful.
them,
I don't really like you. And as a club, they're one of those clubs that they never like to admit they need someone like David Moyes, but they kind of do. And they always go, well, we're not going to have David Moyes, we're going to have someone like Pellegrini, or we're going to have someone like Potter, of course. And then they end up sort of flattering to deceive and end up going, Moyes, will you come back? Even though they probably won't do that now. Yeah. What do you make of West Ham as a club and this team?
I think, that, like you said, they are slightly infuriating in that they talk about this West Ham way thing.
Academy of football. We won the World Cup.
I'm 32 years old, and I've never once associated West Ham with away. And if it is, it was 60 years ago. You look at teams like Brentford and Bournemouth and Brighton, who are much smaller, much smaller teams than West Ham, who in actual living memory have had a good style of play with an aggressive front foot, like possession style football. West Ham talk about like they want to go on to win big trophies and challenge this, and we've outgrown David Moyes. Well, where's the evidence for any of this? You know, like at some point you need to go. Maybe for now we just need to, challenge for things. And they literally won a trophy under Moyes and then sacked him.
Yeah.
So I just think, they're an infuriating team. They've got Jared Bowen, I think he's a very good player. And I think he's someone that sometimes it's all right to just be the best player at a mid-table team.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really good role to have. There's certain players where you just think, like, James Ward-Prowse is a good example. You just was fantastic for Southampton, and then sometimes you try and push on, you try and do a bit, and you're not necessarily ready for it. Wilfried Zaha at Manchester United is another one.
He was
phenomenal at Palace.
Yeah.
And then you just think, just be there, be what you're good at, and stay there. So I like Jared Bowen, but I just think, generally there's a bit of an air of, I don't know, like we deserve more than we get from West Ham fans. I think you're in the Championship 10 years ago. But you've been in the second division more recently than you played good football.
Yeah.
So let's not talk about the West Ham way. Just start winning games.
That's fair enough, yeah.
I don't know why I dislike him
No,
so
I don't know. You think you make it look like I actually like him after listening to that. No, look, I know it's pre-season. I know it's a friendly. We can't look too much into it, but it's a good sort of test as well.
I like this Premier League series for that reason.
Yeah, because you look at the likes of, obviously, you've got West Ham, you've got Bournemouth, you've got Everton. These are teams that next season you'd expect Manchester United, you'd expect us to finish above them, but they should give us a little bit of a test. And it's one of these teams and clubs where they'll want to get a result against Manchester United. They won't go into this thinking it doesn't matter at all.
No.
Like, they'll think if we can get a result against United in pre-season, that could give us a bit of a lift, because despite our sort of issues over the last season in particular, we're still a big name, a big scalp, even in a pre-season, and it's something that can attract fans as well when you go to places like New Jersey or Atlanta or Chicago, whatever, put on a display against United, fans will be like, oh yeah. Who are these lot? Let's check them out. So yeah, I agree with what you said there. A good test for Manchester United, but certainly a winnable one. So, Joseph, with all that being said, give us your score prediction for Manchester United versus West Ham United.
Yeah, I mean, as I said before, I do think we're going to win.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to be moving in the right direction just generally over the next few months and weeks under Ruben Amorim. But I think it'll be a bit of a cagey one. I'm going to go 2-0.
2-0.
Yeah, as we said, I think Bruno Fernandes is going to score. I'm hopeful we'll get a goal out of one of the new signings as well. I could see Cunha getting a goal, you know. I feel like he's a good threat, and in these sorts of games when we're not necessarily going to have loads of possession, with it being a back and forth pre-season game, he can find something from the edge of the box. So I'm going to go 2-0 to Manchester United.
Yeah, I agree. I think Manchester United will win. I'm going to go 1-0. Yeah. I think Manchester United will win, and I think I'll go with... Well, I'm going to go with Bruno Fernandes to score because that's our bet builder with Betfred. But yeah, I think United will win. I think Bruno Fernandes will be on the score sheet. So going 1-0 Manchester United. Don't forget, you can check out our bet builder, 14-1. That's Manchester United to beat West Ham under 2.5 goals. Bruno Fernandes to be on the score sheet, 14-1 with Betfred. There's a link in the description. Of course, the prices are correct at the time of filming. Betfred rules apply. Maximum stakes may vary. Be gamble aware as well, 18+. And a big thank you to Betfred for sponsoring this preview. A big thank you to you, Joe Smith.
Thanks
as always, don't forget to send us your score predictions. Send them to paddockmatchday@gmail.com. That's been Joe Smith. I've been Jay Marty. This has been the preview for Manchester United versus West Ham here in lovely New York, even though the game's in New Jersey. Thanks for watching.